everybody, and welcome back to Comet Sighted. Today we're going to be talking about another dev diary for Imperator Rome, battles and deployment. This ought to be a good one. In the period covered by Imperator, battles were in many ways quite different from periods we cover in our other games. The battle system of its predecessor, Europa Universalis Rome, did have a unique touch to it with its unit types and their various strengths and weaknesses, but otherwise more similar to the battle system of the Europa Universalis games. In Imperator, we have revamped combat in a number of ways to behave like you would expect from the era, while also giving you greater control over how your battles are fought. And all the other dev diaries, that's what I've been saying exactly, is that you can really tweak your armies. First, I'd like to refresh some things we have already gone through. Like in EU, Rome battles are fought in phases where a unit will attempt to damage the unit in front of it. If there is no unit immediately facing it, it can try to damage a unit diagonally adjacent to it. The maneuver rating of each unit type determines, I think I inserted a comma there. Each unit type determines how far it can target a unit on the opposite side. For an overview of these types, you can click on that dev diary there. Obviously, that's a hyperlink, so you're not going to be able to use it, but all the dev diaries are in the playlist for Comet Sighted here. How much damage each unit can deal is dependent on its strength towards the unit it faces. As an example, a unit of heavy infantry will deal more damage to light infantry. Modifiers from military traditions and unit abilities can further strengthen units overall or in certain terrains, as well as the battle tactics. Terrain is going to be a huge factor in battles in Imperator. Now for the new stuff. Here we can see 16,000 Romans fighting, well, it's not Romans. It just looks like 16,000 Greeks of some type fighting another army of 41,000 Greeks of some type. What do we got in these armies? We got 4,000 archers, it's like cav, heavy infantry, cav skirmishers, and skirmishers. Right? Light infantry and light cav? Is that what it is? That's got to be heavy cav. Heavy cav, cav archers, light cav, light infantry, elephants. 11,000 archers, 4,000 camels. Let's see, that's cav, lots of heavy infantry, and lots of skirmishers. Unlike in its predecessors, there is no second role from which units can deal damage in Imperator Rome. Instead, there's a primary front line and a secondary front line. Doesn't that seem like semantics right there? The first front line will enter battle first, damaging the opposing side until its morale breaks or it suffers enough damage to be eliminated. Now, how are they going to be looking at it? Is the first front line, is that going to be the skirmish phase? I guess we'll see. The secondary front line will then begin to move forward to become the new front. That's how I see it ideally, is that the first front line is skirmishers and light infantry, because normally in battles of this time, your skirmishers would fight for a while, and your cav would fight and decide which sections of the battlefield are being controlled by who, and then the big smash of the infantry in the middle. On the sides, the units designated as flank units will be deployed. These will first fight and kill the opposing flank, then start targeting the center if they can, decided by their maneuver value as described above, if they have the capability to maneuver further from their position on the line. Now that does seem interesting, because it seems like it'll make large quantities of light troops effective in flanking. Oh, here we can see it. Yeah, light cav, light infantry, war elephants, heavy cav, chariots, camels, archers. In the army interface, you will be able to select which type of units you want to be prioritized for the first front and second front lines and flank. Oh, that is amazing. You can decide how you want to set it up. You could put your light stuff in the back to try to mop up after the fact, or you could put your light stuff in the front to try to soften up the enemy. Interesting. The pre-selected choices will depend on your military tradition, but they can be changed freely by the player or the AI for each army. Oh man, that means you could fight a person and win, and then fight them again and completely lose because they may have switched up their army tactics. The size of the flank can also be set either to 2 cohorts, 5 cohorts, or 10 cohorts. Oh my god, I love this. I freaking love this. Additionally, some unit types are now scripted to be able to deal or take more damage, or more morale damage or more physical damage, making them more or less suited for each role. That is amazing. That's just so many buttons. You can customize to an absurd degree not absurd, but an amazing degree, how you want your armies to fight. Oh boy, that is interesting right there. In most cases, this means you might see a first skirmish phase where your primary front line of archers or light infantry, that's what I was suggesting, try to do as much damage as possible to the other side before the morale breaks and they retreat. Then, they are then followed by units of the second front line, potentially composed of heavy units such as heavy infantry and or elephants. That would be like a traditional Roman way of fighting, or probably Greek. In an ideal world, you want to deploy something like horse archers on the flank with high maneuver values that would allow them to deal damage far into the center once they have defeated the opposing flank, but you might also go with something specifically or prioritize countering the opposing flank. Since the choice is free, you could put any type of these units in each of these roles. If you are playing a country with specific bonuses to certain unit types for military traditions, that might change which units you want to put in which position. If you just want to try something unexpected, that is also possible. Oh my god, the more I read about this, the more excited I get. When you do not have enough of your preferred unit type for a role, the game will fill out with units in order of how high their build costs are. So we'll just put the best ones in there, basically. That is super cool. Apart from being strong against other unit types, there's also some units that have modifiers to how much morale damage they take or deal. Archers take 25% more morale damage, for instance, and heavy infantry deals more damage to unit strength of the opposing unit. Down to the battle indicator. Like in Europa Universalis or Crusader Kings, Imperator will show an indicator on the map when a battle is expected to occur in a location where two armies are headed. That is useful information, and I'm glad they added that into Imperator, because that was not originally in EU4 or CK2. And Imperator, we have added information to this indicator to give a quick view of some of the more relevant combat data of this expected battle. The indicator will change appearance depending on how likely a victory is, and its tooltip will summarize why it predicts a certain result. Now, there are many factors that influence the outcome of a battle, and together with the random elements that can skew a battle result, this means that the indicator might not always be entirely correct, but it will allow you to quickly gauge your chances of success and show some of the factors that would otherwise have to look around in the interface for, that you would have to look around in the interface for. So we have an imminent battle here. It gives you the exact date, October 14th of 451. Unclear which side will win. So it looks like it's mostly archers and light infantry. Commander has 9 military, while there has 6, and it's basically undecided. And attrition. A constant factor in warfare in this area, and up to this day, is the non-combat related losses in a conflict. Armies moving through hostile territory or just areas unable to support them in general will often suffer as many or more than ones directly involved in combat. As in other grand strategy games such as Crusader Kings and EU, locations in Imperator will have a supply limit shown as a value next to the cauldron in the screenshot above, which is the size of the army that can support without suffering attrition. Cauldron, where we'll, oh, here we go. Can support 11.25 units. Weather and hostile terrain can also directly increase attrition for the present armies. An army in a desert city will suffer 1% attrition for it, as will armies in locations with harsh winter. Base attrition is shown by the Skull the Province interface above. Skull. Base attrition of 1. Together with the mountain passes, roads, and other features of the map, this means that you will have to pay close attention to the map while on campaign. Minimum attrition means that an unsafe route might be more punishing than you are used to. The automatic pathfinding will prefer shorter movement times and low attrition when possible, but at times you might want to cross the desert to reach the battlefield you want. That is all for today. Next week we'll be back with more information on trade, diplomacy, and regional information about the starting situation in the British Isles. This DD I'm very happy with. It's very specifically telling me all the things I want to know about the military in the game. I knew it was going to be more in-depth than it was in CK2 or EU4, but I didn't know it was going to be in-depth to the point where you could specifically tell in your units where you want them in the line. If you want them on the front line, the second line, or on the flanks, and which units you want in each position, which is just super cool because you can really tweak how your armies behave in the field. And I keep saying this over and over and over again every time I find out more things about the military in this game, is that it's going to be really fun multiplayer in Imperator. But that is it for the day, everybody. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.